Warning, the Hear It in Horror podcast is a review podcast that is full of spoilers of the first few episodes of the shows that we discuss. If you do not like spoilers, please pause and go listen to the show. We announce ahead of time what show is discussed in the next episode, or you can check it out in the show notes. We'll be here when you're done.
Dabbed in Ink presents. Do you like isolationist horror? Or beautiful music being used for a creep factor? Then Tower 4 may be for you. But is it really horror? Come along as we find out on today's episode of the Hear It in Horror podcast. Hello, thank you for joining us for another episode of Hear It in Horror, where we dive into the depths of horror audio to tell you if it's worth your nightmares. What we heard in horror this week is episodes 1 and 2 of Tower 4. Tower 4 is a 7-lamb production that was first released in September 2020. The story follows Mike Archer, a man looking for a chance after the loss of his mother. His form of change comes in taking a job as a fire watcher. In episodes 1 and 2, we see him on his first day, making the long trek to his tower and settling in. He isn't completely alone, as another fire watcher speaks to him over the radio and makes sure he arrives safely and helps him figure out where things are. But on his first night, he hears strange noises, indicating that things will not be as peaceful as he envisioned. So let's go ahead and open it up. Overall thoughts on episodes 1 and 2. I did not have a fun fact this time, so I'm just going to start with Clay.
Okay. First, I thought you asked me for a fun fact. Like, I don't have one either. Overall thoughts of the episodes. Like everything I've listened to start to finish. But as far as episode 1 and 2, I like it for a lot of the writing. It's good. Not great, but it's good. The sound work is phenomenal. Like, it's... Yeah. You could tell me, like, I'm actually just, like, around a person and just observing everything that's going on. And it's all the small details do such wonderful work. Even, like, the first few seconds in, the rule of 3 almost goes out the window because you're just like, oh, this is great quality from day 1. This person has a lot of experience. And so, sold from, like, second 1, minute 1. It was just really good, in my opinion.
Awesome. Jessica, how about you?
Yeah, I'd agree with Clay there, where the general audio is very professionally done. I'd say, like, the sound effects aren't overdone where you feel like, oh my god, I don't need to hear everything you're doing. It's more like it adds to what's going on to put you in the environment, and then you have music coming in at good points, but it's not throughout the whole thing. It feels like where it needs to be to kind of move time or to, like, give some background to monologuing and stuff like that. So from an audio perspective, very well done, very professionally done. It is a bit of a slow start with the first 2 episodes. You kind of just, like, dip your toes into the mystery, and that's generally a plus for me. Like, I like setting the scene, especially for something that's going to continue on for multiple seasons. So that's not a huge, it's not like a thumbs down for me. And I am curious to see what the actual mystery involved is as it progresses.
Awesome. Alrighty, Alante, what about you?
Okay, hear me out.
Okay.
Remember,
Okay.
Overall,
Here we go.
Overall,
Hear me out.
You're such a problem child.
Oh, absolutely. But we love him for
I
it.
really enjoyed it. And I enjoyed it in the way, and the hear me out part is, like, the way that it's like The Walking Dead, right? Like, you're not watching it for, like, the horror, for the zombies, for, like, what that is. You're watching it for, like, this kind of relationship between characters, and then something else, like, exterior comes in and complicates things, or doesn't, or whatever, and, like, you see how that changes dynamics. So that was a good through line that I kept listening, and I'm like, I definitely am going to keep listening, even though I have a little bit of things I will want to talk about upcoming. But I enjoyed it.
Awesome. All right, and that leaves Izzy.
Yeah, like this one, I think, for the purposes of our format, where we only really dip our toes into the water for the first couple episodes, it does a little bit of a disservice to this one because it is the slowest of slow burns from what I've gathered thus far, and it does set up its mystery in a very kind of like compelling way. I also have my own little things that I'd like to kind of talk about later of things that didn't quite grab me. But production value is pretty high on this one. And with it having several seasons out at this point, it can only go up from there.
Awesome. Thank you for those overviews. So let's dive in. Let's start with the story itself. So we can talk about the character or the plot, wherever you want to start. So let's start this time. Let's go back to Izzy.
All right. Starting with me. So we start off with our episode 1, where we have a couple of characters that we're introduced to. We've got mostly Mike and I'm trying to remember the
Amber.
boss's name, Jean.
Gene.
Oh.
Yeah, I know. Alante wants to jump right ahead to Amber. Admittedly, Amber is great. Jean, I
She's a
wonder
lot.
about. Jean, I wonder if he's actually the one who's causing all of the mysteries of the stuff and just messing with our main character, because he is a horrible boss.
I was gonna say, how much of that is actually you just being suspicious of people who are just like, oh, I'm just nice and friendly and
No, he's just a horrible.
No, he was given weirdo
horrible
vibes.
boss. He has real
Absolute
weirdo
weirdo
vibes.
vibes.
Okay, so here's my points. Weirdo vibes. He calls Amber, who he's worked with for years, Ember. You know, he dumps our main character off at a like several mile hike from his safe spot. So he has to go, like, they had to have had an option where they could get him within like at least like a couple hours. It wouldn't.
It wasn't several miles. It was 25 miles. They dropped this. So they meet. They do like their little like
But
intro.
they didn't
Get ready
tell
for your
him.
job.
They didn't tell him beforehand. Like, that's the sort of thing that you like get on the email before your first day on the job. It's like, hey, maybe pack a tent, right? So
I just imagine
awful.
like, okay, I
That's
imagine personally,
my,
if I was told I had to walk 25 miles, I'm like, you know what? Just go ahead and take my resume and back in the trash. Like, hey, thank you for the time. You're like, no.
Just no. So yeah, Jean is the standout of episode 1 for me. Of just like,
He didn't even
what is going
register
on with
for
that
me.
man? He didn't register for Alante at all.
And I listened
like,
to it today. I did not
I will
even.
leave someone else to tell about Amber, but I, as first one at the bat, I just wanted to take a moment to be like, Jean, bad boss. Bad boss. All right, and then I'll
Is he just
cede
like
the floor.
OSHA violations everywhere? This is a lawsuit waiting to happen.
I came from a forestry family, I'll have you know, and this is not how it's done. Not how it's done.
You came from a good forestry family, okay? Like, it's
Also, I like how it is set. Like, it's not a parallel universe. It's not some weird augmented version of like today.
That we
It's
know.
like literally supposed to be today. Well, they talk about politics.
Oh, they
of
do, they do, they do.
2020.
They
That
do.
was just you would only know in 2020. You know, so
That's fair. I mean,
I
I
appreciate
caught that, and
adds
I
realism.
thought that it was way more topical, and I was like, did this release like yesterday? And I was like, oh no, wait, it's just
No,
the same thing.
no,
all over
no.
again. Oh boy. Huh.
Yeah.
Huh.
we've seen this dance before. Yeah.
All right, so who's up next for telling
Lante's
more?
I
chopping
want to
up a
know
bit,
how
yeah.
everybody else feels about Amber, because like well known in the chat that Amber is my favorite, and I want Amber to be the main character. So
You
Amber
would.
is the person in like the kind of tower over there, like, and they're always on the radio. Super charismatic, super funny, weirdly flirty. I don't know.
Listeners, y'all
I
can't see
just
this, but
enjoyed
Jessica is
them.
losing her goddamn mind at Lante's
Oh my
description.
God, you disagree? What's the problem telling now?
Oh my God, she's so not like other girls. She's so quirky, isn't she?
Oh, tell me how you really feel.
Wow.
She's like,
Okay,
I
we're
hate people, but anyway, let me talk your ear off for 3 hours. It's like,
And
girl,
if you
where?
have any sexual questions, go ahead.
Yeah, anyway, let's roll it back a little bit. So let's say episode 1. Here's the setup. We start the episode. We have our main homie Mike. He's meeting his new boss Gene for the first time. Gene's being a freak. He's like, "Hey, make sure you're out here for the right reasons. If you came out here to like get some peace and do some soul searching, don't do that. You're going to be here looking for fires, and you need to have your whole life together if you're going to be doing that, because this is a normal job that normal people have."
Yep.
And so Mike's like, well, I don't want to tell him my mom just died, because now he's going to think I'm the weird one. It's like, no, honey, I feel like you have a very valid reason.
Absolutely.
Anyway, so then there's like what appears to be an ad for Yellowstone, because they're just talking about going to Yellowstone for 3 hours.
Yeah.
Because he's like, Gene's like, hey, so what are you going to do in the area, buddy? And he's like, oh, I was thinking of going to Yellowstone. And Gene goes on his spiel about what an amazing park Yellowstone is. You should all go fishing at Yellowstone. And then Mike's like, yeah, I think I'll go to Yellowstone. And you're like, is this relevant? Is Yellowstone going to be relevant to the plot, Clay? Is Yellowstone relevant to the plot?
I like to imagine it's more character depth of Gene going, I fucking wish I worked at a different park.
Honestly, I wonder if there's just like undertones of like the moral takeaway is like we should care about our parks and nature, because it kind of comes up.
Okay.
No, I don't even think it's eco horror. I think there's just an undertone of that because it comes up in like later episodes.
Very Captain Planet-esque.
Yeah,
there's a little bit of that going on, I think, because you're right. In a little bit of later episodes, there's kind of we should protect our parks as a resource kind of vibes that do come up. So
good.
Yeah, but
so they have this weirdo interview, and then he goes to Yellowstone, and then he stays at a hotel, and he tells us exactly what he ate at the hotel and the movie he was watching. And I'm thinking, is this maybe we could tighten the script up a little bit? Is what I was thinking. And then he has a dream. Like a nightmare. It's like a very vivid dream, and we kind of get some insight into his childhood. His dad left when he was a kid. He was raised by his mom, wakes up from the dream, meets Gene, who drops him off 25 miles from a fire lookout point. 25 miles to Tower 4, which is why it's called Tower 4. That's his tower. And he's like, good luck. And homie's like, I'm mostly in shape. I can do this.
bad boss.
So he takes 7 years to get to the tower. He arrives and it's like super late at night, and he gets in and he's like, I'm going to fall asleep immediately. Not going to check in with anyone. He's just going to... He did just, again, hike 25 miles, so I guess that's valid. Didn't even shower. Nasty ass, sweaty, covered in dirt.
You're in the woods.
Laying in his...
impress? Come on.
It's not about impressing. It's about hygiene. He's sleeping in that bed. Where's he getting his laundry done? Okay, face oils all over the pillow. Skincare's important, people. Anyway, so homie passes out, and then at midnight, his radio's like, hello, it's me, the most annoying woman on the planet.
Oh my god! Okay, how did you feel about Mike?
Mike? Also, Mike's an idiot. He's maybe the dumbest man on the planet. Anyway.
I think...
Look, he wanted to go to
Monty at least agrees there.
He wanted to go to the
I
woods
did
to
write down the words, and I underlined it, is Mike an idiot?
I want to know how he doesn't know what banana chips are.
There's a lot Mike doesn't know. We're finding out.
I don't trust anyone who wants to go out to the woods to write the great American novel or the next Walden Civil Disobedience. Like, you're already kind of off at that point. Like,
he's not. He's writing a romance novel. That's actually my favorite part about Mike. Anyway, so of note, I think it's probably important I think it's important to note that Mike is taking sleeping pills. I feel like that might come up later anyway, and he's getting like weirdo dreams and stuff. Anyway, so he wakes up at midnight. It's Amber from Tower 3. She's a fellow Firewatch person. She's been doing it for years. She wakes him up. She's super chipper for midnight. She's like, hey, just checking in. And I'm like, thank God somebody has an ounce of professionalism here. And then they do a little back and forth where we get to know them. We get to know Amber's background. she had a fiance who cheated on her, and then she hopped around a little bit, and then she decided to do the Firewatch thing, loved it, it's been doing it ever since. We get a little bit more from Mike. We know that his mother fell ill, and he moved in to take care of her, and then he had a girlfriend, and she was like, the spark's not there anymore. I think we should break up. And he was like, I don't really want to, but I guess, homie. So now we know they're both single. Wonder what's gonna happen there.
Okay, that annoyed me. Okay, but to be fair, like Amber's like kind of needed to happen to foil against Mike's kind of like almost leave me alone vibe, you know?
He's not giving me leave me alone vibes.
He's like a little leave me alone vibe.
If he's chatting with homie like all day, every day on the little radio thing.
Well, he's like I'm bored.
I would put the radio outside. I was like, I'm in the middle of the woods to work on my novel. And I don't need to hear about your favorite snack and everything. So that's the basic.
He's not leave me alone. He's the non-instigator who is like, I don't want to start conversations, but please pull me into the conversation.
Right.
Okay. All right.
So anyway, so it ends. He's like, they chat for a little bit. Then Amber's like, it's late. We should go to bed. And it's like, yes, it is late. We should have done our call-in way earlier, but whatever. So then he pops another sleeping pill, and then he wakes up again. He hears whispers from the radio, and he's like, pss, 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 pss. They're good spooky whispers. Those are great whispers.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to give it that. I was like, that's
Two
creepy.
thumbs way up spooky whispers.
Yeah, I wasn't even wearing headphones for spooky whispers. And I was like, those are great spooky whispers. This is a great introduction to the horror. We know something's going on with the radio. I love a haunted radio moment. And I think that's where it ends for episode 1.
Pretty much, yeah.
Oh
okay.
my God.
So that's the recap.
Solid.
Oh my God.
Oh, geez.
Sorry, that was like a RuPaul's Drag Race for horror. Like, I love that. I love a spooky radio.
Is it too late for us to change the name of our show to that?
RuPaul's Drag Race horror? Oh, okay. Never mind.
That's basically where we are. Let's be fair.
Yeah.
So, Clay, what did you think of episode 1?
Yeah, give us your take.
What's there to say that hasn't been said?
What did you not
Literally.
like about it? How about there? What were the like hard sells that you were like, I need to get over this to keep listening?
Personal beef was oddly enough, again, the falling passed out in bed thing after 24. So, long story short, I used to work on a farm, and look, I don't care how tired you are. At the worst case scenario, like, you know what? I don't have the energy for a shower. I'm going to sleep on the floor because I don't want my bed getting this on it. Aside from that, though, yeah. It's you got to plan ahead for that. But aside from that, I enjoy it. Like I said, the sound works great. The characters, I like the back and forth. Each one has their own different energy, and of course, everyone here kind of uses a little bit differently. But they're definitely not like, and this is character A and character B, and you can tell them apart because they have a different voice. The personalities is very much different. I think adds a lot to what's going on in episode 1. Now, of course, episode 1 and then later in episode 2, it should be called Things You Need to Know. It's a lot of setup. It's a slow burn.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I think for this situation, it plays well, especially with like, you're like, oh, like, okay, he's alone in the woods. This could be like a slice of life. Why are there creepy whispers? What's going on? So I think it ends well on that episode.
As long as they don't pull like a Bones. Do people know Bones, that show with?
Yeah.
As long as they don't pull a Bones and like they get together at the end, I'm fine. Like I don't want that. I don't
You
want that
didn't want
story.
Bones and
Bones.
Booth to get together?
I feel like
The entire
Bones-
series was them almost having sex.
the
entire time.
every moment of it. I was just
Yeah,
like,
how'd you feel about the baby where you like put that bag away? Shove it back in there?
ew, it's my condolences. Anyway, yeah.
Hate that series.
I don't know where I was going with that. The end.
So this episode's interesting Alante fact. Alante is against romantic encounters of being forced between characters.
I
Well,
don't
I just
think
mean,
that's
like,
the
okay,
case.
I don't think that's the case. It's like I'm looking like I'm really enjoying the premise. I'm enjoying the back and forth, but I'm also looking for something new. So part of me being like, I want Amber to be the main character is I would have loved to have like seen this from like her perspective, because we always think about the old Western dude going into the woods to do whatever, but you don't hear about like, you know, the opposite, right? Or like even that is like slightly like
The bubbly
tinged
manic
or,
pixie
like
dream girl who's got a weird guy on the radio. Like that actually, yeah, no, I get you. Like that could be a fun perspective to explore this.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I think that yeah, I'm listening to hear something different to keep me even further, because like they almost have me. Like I'm right there on the edge. It's just yeah.
Fair.
But yeah, as far as our recap for like episode 2, do we need to go into so much depth? Because like you did say, it is a lot of setup for like.
Jessica just smiled really big, so the answer is probably yes.
Give the recap for episode 2.
Okay. Do it.
You know what?
Okay.
I was on the edge of my seat for your recap of episode 1, so.
All right, everyone, tuck in.
Yep.
All right, episode 2. We're right in it. We're between a call between Amber and Mike. There's no coffee. Tragic. It's so he's going on this journey to find the coffee. And this is where I think, again, it says it's a slow burn, but since this is a multi-season story, I think setting up the location of everything is important here. So it's like we learn he's in his fire watchtower, and then down below there's like a shed/shack situation, and then there's a storage, and then there's the outhouse and the shower. So this is us learning the layout of our setting. So they do all that, and then homie's working on his novel, and he's getting like, he's got some writer's block or whatever, and then he chats with Amber a little bit more. A lot of it was just setting up the setting, and then I think besides that, no, I forgot episode 1, he sees the weird creature at night, right?
He hears some like stuff going on.
Yeah, but it sounded like construction, like
like
there was and we saw something big moving through the forest, and that was where episode 1 set up. So like, and then in this one, he has another night. He goes to bed. The radio pops on. The radio pops on with like Claire de Lune. He doesn't know what Claire de Lune is because again, Mike's kind of an idiot. He's like,
It's Mozart.
He's like, classical music, my God. And he's like trying to get a hold of Amber, and it says he's on her channel, which is channel 1, and he's just not getting through. Oh, also worth noting, she is the only tower he can connect to. And I think it's like a 6-mile hike to get to the ranger station or something.
Oh, there's like a ridge that they can get like a signal out to.
Yeah, and I love Gene was like, it's a 6-mile hike, which is kind of ass. Bro, you just walked 25 miles. Like,
yeah,
no,
6
this
miles
is
after that?
This is fine.
Yeah. You're going to get used to the walk, is what I'm getting.
It's worth noting that they can also see each other's tower from where they are. Because she's like, I can see when your light's on. That was from the first episode as well. So anyway, the second night, or not, it's been like a few days or something, I think it says. Claire de Lune pops up on the radio. He does manage to get a hold of Amber. He's like, was that you calling me on the radio with the classical music? And she's like, what do you mean? I don't believe anything you're saying for some reason. And he's like, yeah, I heard music on the radio, and then the other night I heard some whispers. There's something in the forest. She's like, you're crazy. You're a crazy man, imagining things. And he's like, am I imagining things? And I'm like, please, can we skip past this trope? It's exhausting with the whole, I don't believe what you're saying. Am I going crazy? Is it all a dream? Because it all happens at night, and apparently that makes everything a dream as if it happens at night.
Unless she's intentionally gaslighting him.
See, like a lot of my like issues with the show, I was like, what if it's intentional? Because like clearly there's something going on in the background that we don't know about, because then it's like the next day he's like faffing about writing his romance novel. He's mad, he throws a paper, and he's like, I guess it wasn't that bad. And then he like scrambles about, and he finds another paper. It's all crumpled up. It's like back against the baseboards or whatever. And it has 2 words, and they gave him goosebumps. And those 2 words meant everything. And those 2 words.
That annoyed me so much.
And I was like, just tell me what the 2 words are, for the love of God. Tell me, just read, Michael, read. So the 2 words are...
And he puts the wrong emphasis on the wrong syllable, too.
But the 2 words are, they're listening. So we're like, oh, who's listening? Is it Jean? Is it Amber? There's a conspiracy. Is she being a freak because she's trying to get information from him? Is she like,
a freak?
Is she like, trying to like,
she a little bit of freak.
A psychological experiment where they're trying to see if he goes crazy, and she's the one keeping track of him, and she's part of driving him crazy because she doesn't stop talking.
I mean, do you want to really listen to him monologue? Because I've got to say, his monologue voice was great.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
thought
I
they did
think going to
okay.
come up in I think the VA section here.
I think
'cause-
it's hard for pure pros to be engaging, especially when you're just describing like day-to-day stuff without being obnoxious. But again, we can get into that in like the VA section. But I think that's everything that happens in episode 2.
I have a quick
so.
question for everyone about episode 2.
Yeah.
Ah?
Who else would pee off the Watchtower? Because I sure as hell would.
I can't,
Absolutely.
dude.
But
Is
you
there a
want to?
hole? Where am I peeing?
Okay.
Get a shiwi,
I
a
was gonna
funnel?
say-
Like, what am I doing?
I was gonna say, I said no
Like,
product
up
placement,
on
but
the
shiwis
banister,
do exist.
Pull
Yeah.
off the
Oh my
banister.
god.
Yeah.
Point backwards? I don't know.
Would pack one
Honey,
along
how do you think it
strictly to
works?
pee off the tower.
Oh, okay. I died a little bit. It's fine. I'm alive, bitch.
But at least we could agree that, like, yes, give them the chance. Probably would.
Oh, and also, my husband is a fire inspector, and before that, he was a firefighter. But he did
Damn.
wildland training, and part of that, they teach you how these towers work.
I appreciated that. Like, I appreciated that lesson.
Except it was missing information.
Oh,
Yeah.
it was?
So
It
again,
was-
I don't know if it's intentional or not, because you are meant to do your hourly look around and be like, oh, guess there's no fire, time to eat noodles for an hour. But you're also essentially a meteorologist while you're out there. You're supposed to do weather reports and track weather patterns and stuff. So that should be part of what you're doing out there. So I don't know if that's, again, if that was intentional, where it's like, oh, they told them to just like hang out and look for fire because something else is going on and they don't care about the weather. Or if we just forgot
That
that,
is
weather
suspect.
exists.
Well,
Yeah, so.
it's also, they're not Yellowstone. Their weather meteorology may just be, they go outside, it not wet. Rain no today.
That's you are supposed to like, I think, measure like precipitation and like wind, whatever. So it's like that should
you have
technically
instruments.
Yeah, you should technically be doing some things.
He couldn't find a light switch. Maybe the instruments are there. We just don't know.
Yeah, and Gene, being the horrible boss, just didn't tell him. And then like halfway through, he's like, "Hey, so your weather reports, man?" And he's like,
What?
"Weather reports? What weather reports?" And then he
Or-
just scrambles. It's sunny every day.
Or Tower 4 is just the collective entertainment of the rest of the towers. Like, they don't give
That's what the
them
lyric.
anything. They
that's
just
dark.
employ the new guy, and everybody
Wow.
has a specific thing that they do to mess with him.
See, that's
They are listening,
Yeah, that's what the lyric listening is. It's more just like, hey, this is our
I
fun.
wouldn't be mad at that twist.
Yeah, I wouldn't
That's
either.
Kind
That's
of awesome.
That would be an M. Night Shyamalan
in a
kind of
terrible way. That's
like
awesome.
in reverse. It's like the horrible thing is happening. Nope, it's just everybody thinks you're very funny.
Watching him pee off the tower. Everywhere.
All right, who had $20 on peeing on the first day? Steve, you
Everyone.
got it? Yeah.
everyone.
Everyone guessed that.
Betting pool. That was a no bet.
Wait, are we saying this thing is Cabin in the Woods, but in a forest?
Cabin in the Woods, I think,
Or
but
am I getting confused with another one?
No, you got the right movie. Yeah.
Okay.
yeah,
The meme of who had this on their bingo card. Yeah. Yeah, that's the
kind
way to
of,
think
but in reverse, because the bad thing would not be actually happening if our take is true.
Yeah, instead it would be just, instead of
I
actually releasing
mean-
monsters, it would be like some guy in a Bigfoot costume just walking by randomly and just seeing if Mike notices.
Sleeping pills plus trauma plus alone in the woods. Like, something's gonna happen. Just saying.
Especially with, and like to rewind a little bit to episode 1, the dream sequence. It's like, that was very artistic. It set up a lot of things. I'm like, oh, Mike is not good in the head. This could go a lot of places.
I mean, his dad left and his mom died and he had a breakup. These aren't like, actually, bringing it back again to my like thing. Not that those aren't bad things, but those are like normal life things. Like, it's not like, but he did mention his best friend in San Francisco was murdered. And I was like, now that's not a normal trauma.
Yeah.
That's not something
Yeah.
that happens to everyone at some point.
It also sounds like
part
it sucks to be around Mike in general. Just don't be around this
he's a
man.
bummer. But part of my problem with like, I feel like we're getting a lot of details here about this, and that. I was like, what if it's intentional to kind of bury the lead with some of these more important details? Like maybe this murdered best friend is like actually like that's relevant to the plot at some point, because that's like a weird thing to kind of just gloss over, right? That it was like, yeah, I had a breakup and my mom had a long illness and she passed away and my best friend was murdered. And anyway, it was like, maybe we pull back and figure a little bit more about that,
No,
But
it worked.
again,
It worked for
I'm not
Marvel.
caught up.
Mom died, dad deported, but I got the van. Like,
I'm just wondering now, like, because the kind of this conversation is making me even more interested in this mystery, and is that just the true secret or the hallmark of a good slow burn? Like,
Man, definitely
Planting clues.
could be good. I mean, personally, what I think would be great is like if this was all just Amber setting up some sort of maniacal plan to make him fall in love with her via like trauma bonding or something. I don't know, something fun.
I mean, she didn't need to do a lot.
The bubbly girl thing is all an act.
She didn't need to do
Jean
anything.
is in
All
her
she had to do
employ.
was be a woman on the other side of the radio. He was so
Right.
ready to flirt with her. He was
yeah,
That's fair.
he
fair.
was like, okay, Amber. And then she's like, hey. And yeah.
I do.
She didn't need to try.
flirting is weird.
I do believe later on when episodes later, this isn't spoilery, but like the conversation goes to places where you're like, hey, we have no one else to talk to and we've lost all social barriers. So how many times you tugging it? Like these things just happen.
You're talking from experience, Clay. How often are you isolated with only one person to talk to that you're talking about your masturbatory habits? Is this like...
I went through COVID.
You know what? That's fair.
What if the
That's
whole thing's
fair.
just an allegory for the social isolation of COVID?
It did come out in 2020.
Well, that's a thing too I love about this because while very different, a lot of listeners be like, oh, I too know what it is to be locked in a room with a computer and not much else. I've been there. Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Like it's
Very
something
relatable.
that people can connect to. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe not the awkward conversations with the stranger, but everything else. Everything else.
Yeah.
Okay, so other than bonding over talking about masturbatory habits, any other things we want to touch on with episode 2?
I think
That's about it?
Oh, well, real
Okay.
quick. Well, actually,
Oh,
I got
go
one
ahead,
thing
go
real
ahead.
quick. The Chekhov's gun. I always love a good Chekhov's gun and always want to pay off. It's like, hey, randomly, here's a bow. No arrows.
Oh, yeah.
But here's a bow.
yeah.
Yeah,
And it was like handmade too. It wasn't like a commercial bow.
And your last name is Archer. Isn't that funny?
See? Oh, you liked Amber. Your tone has changed.
I said I liked Amber from the start.
It doesn't sound like you like Amber.
No.
Okay, no, that was
He loves
weird.
Amber. You can
That
tell it.
one was like, girl, what?
You trying a little too hard. Just dial it back. Dial
Just
it back.
like, how bored are you? Come on.
All right, now I think we're done with the episode. I think we've milked it.
Okay,
yeah, I think
yes.
we
So
can,
before we move on to our next segment, we're going to take what we're calling a 60-second reset. This is the first time we're doing it, so thank you, Maddie, and I think Randy's with us for listening in. And we can enjoy too. So 60 seconds of getting a drink or whatever, but Izzy has our first reset, so let's see what Izzy made for us.
You probably recognize this sound. This is a waterphone, in part after its inventor, Richard Waters. The instrument is a sort of pan, suspended by a handle neck and surrounded by rods. It is often played by bowing it like a violin and tilting it, so the reservoir of water in the resonating pan alters the pitch. This thing was created and patented in the 1960s, and while it was used to create soothing, otherworldly sounds in a number of science fiction soundtracks, it found its true home in horror when it was used in 1982's Poltergeist. And since then, it's shown up everywhere in the genre. Its mournful, sustained, bending pitch might be familiar for other reasons, as inserted into the ocean, the waterphone, as true to its name as anything could ever be, can be used to call whales in a bizarre form of interspecies communication. Who's calling, please?
Yes, it's done.
Lovely.
Alrighty.
Love it.
Bravo.
Yes.
Bravo.
Thank you, Izzy, for giving us our first 60-second reset. Okay, so back from the break. Thanks for joining us. We were just talking about Tower 4. Gave a rundown of episode 1 and 2, the story, what we're thinking. Seems like Mike's a little bit of an idiot. And Amber, we're a little on the fence on how we feel about her, but this looks like a slow burn that I think most of us are vibing with, except I found one. Did somebody say they weren't loving it?
No, I think we're all vibing.
Okay,
with
kind
it.
of. Oh, Izzy. Okay, so
I'm
Izzy's
a
on
little half and half.
So Izzy's a
on
little bit of a
this
slow
one.
burn, right? Okay. All right. So we're going to pivot from the story and the characters, and now dive a little bit more deeper into focusing on the voice acting. So Alante, I'll let you start.
Okay. I literally before this had to check in, and I needed like to reflect with people. It's like, do I just have like a bias against male voice actors? Because to start, I really he was fine, but there was just like a lot of choices that piled up where I was like, but then episode 2 came along and it was a lot better. So I was just like, oh, it's just like when you're finding the character, you got to give that kind of grace. But then further episodes, there was slight regressions, and as I said before, I think the monologue voice was grating because for me it was like a little too stiff. Like, it's a monologue, you're talking to yourself. Are you really going to be so la 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 in your own head? And if you are, please go see a doctor.
I mean, we know that not much is going on in Mike's head, so maybe that's just what it sounds like for him.
Maybe, yeah. But I really loved Amber's voice acting because it made things come alive, and it was a nice foil to that more just like not monotone, because he wasn't monotone, but the more like reserved nature of Mike. Yeah.
I don't think he counts as necessarily monotone, but he does have a very like stable sort of rhythm that his internal monologue works off of. And that was one of the things that I found a little bit off for me, is that there was not a lot of variable in it. Like, I agree with Alante on
just
the
as
whole,
exciting.
like,
It's just what's exciting.
Yeah, like there's not a lot of like I know that it's an internal monologue and keeping it a little bit more reserved is a style choice, but like I kind of like a little bit more moments that kind of punch up or punch down with the tone to give me something to just sort of sink onto. But it didn't feel like there was that much there for me. Like, the conversational tone of Mike's great. Like, most of the time.
And on that note, I just want to play a very fun clip where like it was just a nice back and forth between the characters.
Are we talking about the...
Yes, we are.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay,
All right.
so let me fight.
Summon
It
the
is
clip.
on live, so everyone should hear it this time.
highlight of my listings.
All right, here we go.
Good thing I'm not self-conscious about my body.
Really? You think you're going to be showering and some self-righteous moose is going to show up? Start silently judging you and your fat rolls?
Hey, I have a bit of a stomach, but I do not have rolls.
I appreciate like that they've kind of got like close enough to kind of do that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like,
The banter is
Yeah.
warm, for sure.
the banter is warm, and that was a nice push to keep going. Yeah. Jessica, what do you think? Huh?
Well, I feel weird talking about voice acting because I know how hard it is to be. I'm assuming these are freelance voice actors. I don't even know if they're getting paid for this. So I don't want to I mean, it's hard for me to be critical about people who are my peers in the field and stuff. So if I sound maybe a little too optimistic about people, it's because I understand what it's like to have people kind of go after you for your voice acting if you're just starting out, or even if you're more of a professional. Jean, I felt it felt like reading. You could hear that it felt like reading. Mike, I think definitely high points is the dialogue, the back and forth with Amber.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if they were recording together or not, but you get more of his personality when he's speaking with her. As for like the actual monologuing parts where he's describing the scene and stuff, I mean, there are parts that wouldn't be how I would do it. But when you're doing these long scripts, you do tend to sort of, I don't want to say it's like a trance, but you lock into like a cadence unless you're paying active attention to it and you're making a point to vary how you say every sentence, where you're putting the emphasis, things like that. Like it's hard to keep just straight prose interesting and exciting. And I think he did a decent job, all things considered. Amber has, I think, probably the most fun role in this. And you could liking her personality and liking like what she's saying and stuff has a lot to do with like the writing. She's given more to work with. So I feel like it's an easier job when you have like a fun, quirky character to play rather than you're just some guy in the woods. But I think she did a pretty good job with her role as well. So overall, like it's not like cringy voice acting from anyone by any means. Like there are a few points where you might be taken out of it a little bit and you're aware that we're reading from a script here or things don't quite feel as natural as they could. But again, it's like I don't know like the level of like where these voice actors came from. Did they audition? Were they like friends of the showrunners or stuff like that? But I think overall from, everyone did a serviceable job for voice acting.
Yes. I 100% agree. Everything I said was more just like what I'm listening for. And I've definitely had moments where I need to get this done. I got to meet a deadline. And I've flubbed some stuff. So I feel it. I get it.
Oh, I have no such reservations.
Oh,
I'm not a voice actor.
I remember. I wonder if they did do a table read or had a director. Because for me, like the transition between 1 and 2, it was subtle, but it was poignant. So I'm wondering if like the editor or the writer was like, all right, we did episode 1. Here are my notes. Here you go. Or they're like, okay, let's do a table read, do a couple edits. Because everything felt more natural going forward and kept getting more natural going forward for me.
Yeah, it did feel like they may have been playing off each other like more as they kind of went along versus maybe like separate reads.
See, and I assume separate reads because of a thing I love about all the reads. It's to me, you can visualize what each person's doing. Mike has no hustle whatsoever. Gene, you can hear him sitting as he's talking, his beer gut just kind of resting back and be like, so, what you doing out here? And and Amber, you can hear her as she's talking, just bouncing from wall to wall in her little tower. Mm-hmm. And I think that's great because you're like, each one has their own energy, which comes across in how they're presenting as well. So talking about Gene may have just read it. I think that was perfect for it because he's just like, well, this is me. How we doing? And I think it worked. I think it really worked.
You know what? Very fair. I take back 1/10 of my venom.
Okay, so definitely not on Alonde's level or anyone else's, but when I do voice acting, it's like, hey, this character I'm doing, this one is actually a character I will sit down to do this voice. The other ones, this one I need to stand up because I need to force, project, or whatnot. This character I actually have to be a little bit drunk for because it calls for slurring. So this will be fun. So I think finding the energy that matched the character, they did really well with. My 2 cents.
I agree with that too.
How do people feel about that? Just slight off topic. Yeah. How do people feel about that? Because I've heard some people getting scolded hard for if you have to sound out of breath and you're running around, you're doing it wrong. Which
the actual having to
actually and physically doing the thing to make it feel like the thing versus sitting down and
I think that's just method.
I blame the latest behind the scenes of Hugh Jackman running through the woods doing his voiceover work because now everyone wants to copy that. Where you're sitting there, you're swinging your arms like a madman. You're going to do everything you're going to do. It's like, bro, you can just do that without all the movement and probably not get a lot of shirt sound in what you're doing too. I don't know.
I mean, I think it probably depends from person to person. I know if I have to scream for something, in my everyday life, I have the most fake sounding scream you've ever heard in your life. If a spider were to drop on me, I'd be like, ah! That's what my, honest to God scream sounds like. But in, being on horror podcasts and stuff, they're going to be like, what is this girl's problem? Why isn't she screaming like she's getting set on fire she's supposed to?
I said blood curdling, not milk curdling.
Right, exactly. So it's
so hard.
what I do before if I have to do like a big like scream is I hyperventilate first. So it's like then and that I've found gives you the best actual scream. Besides just like I can't just sit down and be like, okay, time to scream. You know. So I think there's like different things for different people, and it also like, you know, it's also time dependent. Like I can't go out and run in the woods every time I have to record being out of breath and running in the woods. Luckily just existing is exhausting enough, so I'm just constantly
too real. Way too real.
That's why there's so many millennial voice actors. We're here. We don't want to be, but we've got this. Let's go.
God.
All right. Anything else on voice acting?
No,
I love them. They're great.
Yeah, like I think our 3 people, like, so all we got so far, it did really well.
Yeah. Awesome. All righty. So then what about production? So Izzy, how about we start with you?
All right. So production-wise on this one, so kind of the highlights of it. Some shows, because of the way they mix things with their action, they put a little further sort of away from what would be sort of, I guess, a camera point. So it's a little bit harder to understand what's happening if you have a lot more things around you. So it's like, I think Jessica hit on it a little bit before. It's like if they're rendering like all of the shirt scuffles and the picking up stuff and all that stuff, this is not that. This is very straightforward. There's enough in the background to tell you where the characters are, what they're doing, and makes it legible to listen to while you've got a bunch of other stuff going on. So, you know, if you have your sort of headphones that don't fully screen out other noise around you, this is going to be very listenable too. So great for, you know, subways, cars, that kind of thing to have on, because it's very legible.
Awesome. On that, Clay, do you mind if I go ahead and play one of your clips?
Yeah, go ahead, please.
So we have just the opening for E1.
Hey, sorry to keep you waiting. I had to give these to Maria to scan. Here you go.
And like I said, just coming out the gate, distance, area, ambiance, it was a lot of good work. This definitely was not their first rodeo, and it shows. It's great.
Yeah, it's very straightforward as far as like how it's sort of composed. So you definitely get a sense of like what's going on. It doesn't necessarily gild it overly so. Like you know, there's a little bit of dead space in that for like what my style tends to be, but I can't argue with the effect.
I thought it was Dead Space 2 at the beginning, but once I had it with my headphones on, I heard like the office noises moving around. I thought it was something actually happening in my house, and so it pulled my attention.
Nice.
And see, for
That's
me,
more,
as a huge
the,
lover,
like, little bits between effects is what I'm kind of getting at. Like there's like those little minute things terminate like a little bit too quickly sometimes, but yeah.
And see, for me, that works. That's mostly because my love of like the classic radio dramas. This, like, I could easily see this being just transposed way back then. Just the timing, the sounding, the pickup and the drops. It just worked. Like, there's some guy off the side wearing a button-up shirt, just dropping papers on a desk, going.
Yeah.
All right. Do we want to hear the second one of Clay's clips? I can't.
Yeah, Clay's
today.
clips. Yeah, Clay's clips. Alliteration.
Okay. So this one, just a little bit of a setup. This gives you more of like the ambiance of like setting up the more horror element in the slow burn. So let's listen.
But when I finally did fall asleep, I had the same recurring dream. I was floating from my bed, not my hotel room bed, but my childhood bed. I could hear yelling in the background, probably my mom and dad, but it didn't matter. I was floating away. I wasn't scared as I floated through the ceiling and the roof. I was calm. As I rose above the neighborhood, I could see my dad's car drive away in a hurry. It was dark and the streetlights flickered as if they were about to shut off, but When my dad was gone, they returned to their full brightness. I was now floating over the city, my house not in view anymore. It was beautiful. All the lights shimmered against the dark backdrop of surrounding land. Then they cut out. It was pitch black. Eventually, I rose above the clouds and saw a white light. That's when my eyes shut in. I could feel my heart beating rapidly. Jesus. A white light? Shouldn't I only see that when I'm about to die?
Oh God, he's been dead the whole time. It was right there in episode 1.
I know. We're sixth sensing this.
See, it's one of those things where it's just like, where could this go with the horror element? Okay, well, this is a nice little psychological aspect. Let's have fun. And, of course, the death tie-in, the traumatic childhood. It's like, let's play around with stuff. And then, of course, they're like, let's go ahead and do all the sounds for it, too. The white light, whoosh, used a million times. In my opinion, never gets old. I love the afterlife whoosh. It just plays well.
Afterlife whoosh.
The afterlife whoosh.
Did you see a light? No, but I heard some shit.
Also, generally good use of music in this one. Lots of really good guitar that gets interspersed in places, and I think adds to that. Alante said, was it Walking Dead-like feel? A little bit of that jangling, twangy guitar. Sort of.
I can't tell if Alante's happy right now or he's trying to just hold back the rage.
Please play
He's
my
been
clip.
wanting to go first for so long. He's
Please.
chomping at the bit to
Yeah,
talk.
all
Just
right.
play my.
Well, in that case,
do it.
thanks for listening to the episode.
Do
We'll
it.
catch us next week.
Damn.
Go ahead, brother.
Go, my boy.
Please play my clip.
I didn't want to take more sleeping pills. I only brought so many with me, but fuck it. I took another one, and 20 minutes later, I was out.
This is my jam. Their use of music is my jam. Like, it's not in the background. It's not even quite part of the scene, but it's like part of the tone, part of the being. And that's just something that I personally love and appreciate. So that's really all I wanted to say. It was just like, that's why I want to talk to them, because I'm like, this production, bravo. I love it.
I think it mentioned they have 2 different composers, I believe, contributing original music, which is fantastic. I love that. I think that's great that they're not just like, oh, let's grab whatever royalty, whatever we can do. They're, giving work to musicians to help enhance their soundscape. So,
Oh, come
Gold
on.
star.
You don't want to be on page
No.
87 trying to find that one song that fits your vision? Because that's hell. I've been there.
Does the song come first before the script, or does it come after the script?
you're going to have to ask the homies.
I will.
That could be your question.
I will.
Your
I was gonna say,
one
that's a good final
question.
part.
You're
Yeah.
allowed one.
This is why Alante wants to run the question next time. I will sneak in as many as I have to.
Yes. Yeah. I just appreciated the vibe that they were setting more than anything. Yeah. And just they used all the tools they could. And I appreciate it.
Excellent.
Alrighty.
Jessica, how do you feel?
Yeah, go ahead.
You guys covered most of it. I will say I didn't listen without headphones because I was putting laundry away and cleaning and stuff while I was listening, and I just had it playing off of my phone. So there were points while I was listening where I it was either blank space or maybe there was a sound effect going on, maybe a little longer than it needed to go on before we got back into Mike monologuing or narrating or whatever. Where I was kind of like, okay, you told us you're typing on your laptop. I get we don't need to keep I understand what's happening now. We don't need 3 seconds of dead air while I hear laptop, because we don't need it to progress the scene per se, because we are having
Fair.
we have a narrator for this to move the scene along. It's not like this is just like a radio play where it's just dialogue and sound effects. So there were a few times I felt maybe the sound effects were going a little longer than they needed to. But I'm also impatient and I'm like, I could be reading this faster by now, you know. So, but that's just me that's just Jessica, you know. That other people might enjoy and be like, yes, I'm in it. I'm with the typing, I'm with the crinkling and the crumpling, and I'm here for it. But besides that, yeah, no, I think the music was great. I like the nuanced use of sound effects where we're not hearing anything, but what we do hear enhances the scene and the setting and character and all that stuff. So yeah.
So I think I'm hearing that this one's a Team Pickle.
That
wasn't that bad.
Damn it, I like it.
Is there a Team Half Pickle?
Why is that somehow worse?
Yeah, and a little, okay.
We're on the same page.
Just
we're
imagine
on the same page.
a half pickled, half unpickled cucumber.
I'm sitting here thinking like, maybe you just started,
pickle.
like just closed it, yeah.
I was just thinking penises, but okay.
That's fair.
That works.
That's fair.
Yeah.
You know, that's
Alante,
honestly
we're not going to have that
reasonable
conversation.
place
We're not
to
in the
go.
woods and we're not on the radio. We're not asking these questions.
Exactly.
Why was that a thing? Come on. So early, like, in the show? Why was that anyway?
I'm finding out is these horror authors are just horny.
Okay,
Everyone's just horny.
Okay, yes, but it's been a long trope thing where it's like, you want to get a woman, take her to a horror movie at the theater, and we don't know why. It's just a thing we've been told, and we accept this fact. It's really weird. Like, hey, if you want to get with someone, watch a horror movie together. Fear is an aphrodisiac, apparently.
As a woman, I'm going to pop in and say, I think that only works if the chick's already into you, because then it's like, oh, it's an excuse to cuddle up. You aren't doing anything. I've already made my decision. just to like, you're not pulling a fast one. I'm not like, oh my god, I'm so scared. I have this big man to protect. Like, that's not, it's like, all right, we get to hang out.
Oh, yeah,
If I didn't want to hang out, I wouldn't be there.
Oh, no, I assume it's one of those things, it's like the social dance that we've all just like, okay, this is what we're supposed to do. Because communication is not something we as a human race has ever really truly mastered, of just, I'm into you. I'm also into you. Like, we don't do that. Instead, it's let's...
Don't we?
My
Maybe
first
I'm the only
date with
one.
my husband, I watched a horror movie.
And now you are married.
no.
The system works.
no.
The system works.
I chose the movie, I'll have you know.
Oh, so you were seducing
it was
him.
like- Was it Sinister? The dude where he's wearing like the same cardigan for the whole movie. Whatever that movie was, it's terrible. But oh man,
Jessica's
yeah, it
movie
works.
reviews. Why the same cardigan?
I was like, wash, dude. Do some laundry. He's like wearing the same outfit. It's like taking place over like months, and homie is wearing the same outfit. I guess it's like a house robe or something similar or whatever. But like,
Maybe he dresses like a cartoon character. I do. I own 6 of these. I don't like change.
On that note, that's kind of a good segue because we are getting more into a general topic, but I do want to pull it back a little bit to kind of tie back into these episodes. Good point that was made. This wasn't actually, even though Clay thought it wasn't marketed as a horror podcast. It was more, I think they said thriller. But horror, like Clay, so like just from your memory, you felt like it had that horror vibe. So I wanted to open that up for discussion. Where do we start? Like, where's that line between just a story with horror, scary elements, but not really horror? And then you dive into, oh yes, this is straight on horror.
So because
where's
I'm
that
the
line?
one
Education, real quick.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Okay,
What is the difference between a thriller and horror? Because I thought thriller might have been like a subset of horror.
Gotcha. So that's where I'm coming in. So thriller, suspense, horror, like you see these things lumped together. And the definition I've always used is thriller and suspense are build up and horror is release. There is the action that occurs. And thriller and suspense, it just keeps drawing on. And maybe there's a resolution, maybe there's not, but there's no just trigger catch to it. Which is what I see this as for psychological horror, which can be much more soft as far as horror is concerned. It's got all the notes and the tropes, and like it has everything it needs to be. Now, of course, it's not falling short because, according to the creator, that was not the intention. So he's doing well, but it's just like if he sneezed at it, it could have easily gone into like what is traditional codified horror.
So I would add to that the difference between thriller and horror and other genres has a lot to do with perspective. Are we all familiar? If you guys know about The Lovely Bones?
Yes.
News to me.
I feel like I do, but I don't remember.
So it's basically a story. It's this girl. She gets abducted. You learn very early on who does it, so I don't think this is a spoiler. It's her neighbor. She is abused and killed. And the rest of the story, that's like how it opens. And then the rest of the story is told from her ghost as she watches her family. So if we want to look at perspective here, we could see this same story about a little girl getting abducted in many different genres. If it's from her and we're watching it happen moment by moment, that is a horror story. That's scary. We're in there with her. Maybe she's trying to escape. She's trying to get free. Like that's a horror story. If we were to look at it from maybe her dad's perspective, because he becomes obsessed with, finding out what happened to his little girl, that becomes more of a thriller. Trying to hunt this guy down and find out, again, what happened to his little girl. Like that's where you get like Taken, the difference between coming from Liam Neeson's perspective, where it's a thriller. Whereas if we saw the whole thing coming from like his daughter's perspective, or maybe her friend who was also kidnapped perspective, that's a horror story. But what we get from The Lovely Bones is instead more of a family drama, because she's watching, again, kind of detached, watching her family have to move on from this tragedy. So it's a horror, like the topic itself, a girl gets abducted and abused and her killer is not found, could be any genre, but how it's presented is what makes it fit into said genre.
I always thought that the difference between the two largely had to do with sort of the payoff of it. Because horror tends to, I think, go on a very, down ending kind of thing. Like, the chances of you coming out of a horror and everything being okay just aren't there. Like, it can be
stuff like The Conjuring and stuff, where it's like everything's fine afterwards.
I guess that's fair, but it's one of those the thriller has always kind of struck me as being almost just horror light. Like there's an aspect to it that is horrifying, but it is in a more removed kind of fashion. Like it's not trying to drag you down and make you lose hope. It's kind of the will they won't they of will things be awful and terrible forever versus you've already got people who are, for sure important to this character maybe dying horrifically on screen kind of thing, as opposed to more veiled action.
Yeah, I'd say action. That's probably a good word for what the difference is as well. Do you have agency to help yourself in this situation?
Yeah.
Are you the Liam Neeson using all your skills to hurt the bad guys? Because then it's yeah, he's getting them, versus are you kind of helpless? And even when you take action, does it feel like it's an uphill battle, I guess would be more of it. Because it's if you take a horror movie and then you give your protagonist superpowers, it's a different movie,
I mean, yeah. Sorry.
So then this solidly isn't horror in my book then? So, or at least so far,
well,
it has that...
We haven't found what the horror conceit is yet.
Yeah.
We just know there's something in the woods and there's something wrong with the radio. So I guess it depends on how it goes forward. Are we helpless to do something while we watch all these things happen? Or are we going to go fight Bigfoot in the woods,
Well, by format, from what I've listened to, I've only listened to up to 4. So take that for what it is. The format seems to be prose, stuff happening, my day, and then the last couple minutes, thriller element. And that seems to be pretty consistent. So I guess I'm having a hard time picturing an episode where thriller, then release. Yeah.
But if we hadn't said anything, if you just went in this to listen and just based off of what you've seen, what would you feel this is leading up to?
I mean, I was hoping for the psychological messing with him by Amber now, since we talked. But if knowing now that like they did set out for it to be horror, I'm like, well, damn it, that's probably not gonna happen.
But I don't. That's still more psychological on her for Amber, so it might still happen. Like I see that on the thriller side.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Let's take a question from the audience. So I can
we
actually
have a
pull it on,
question?
We have an audience?
the screen. I
We
think
have an audience and
this
there's
is
questions.
from.
We have friends.
Yes. This is from Maddie.
Hey.
In terms of genre, should a creator try to remain more vague instead of risking mislabeling their show because of how they saw their own creation?
Oh,
do you
that's
think about that?
hard. Because humans, like in psychological terms, like humans love categories, and it's like kind of automatic rather. And people tend to give things that have clear, defined boundaries a chance over more nebulous things.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's worth giving it a label and maybe being willing to change that label as it evolves.
Yeah, I feel like there's a difference between like what is the actual kind of taxonomy that maybe like experts might agree on or whatever versus like how does one market a podcast? Because I know certain things tend to do better in different spaces. Like there's a huge listenership for podcast horror, podcast thrillers. I'm not 100% sure like how it like compares. Like I've definitely listened to some, and it feels like an entirely different community, because like it's more about like interpersonal relationships of the characters, and like how that sinks into like I don't know, like almost vicarious trauma and stuff like that, which. I don't know. I feel like it's a different audience, and you get different themes that sort of bubble up through it.
So you're saying we could have a second show of Talk It Through Thriller? I like this.
Talk it through thriller. I mean, maybe
Weird and thriller,
there's places where they definitely just blend together. Like we're not going to necessarily be covering like a political thriller on here, but there's certainly ones where like supernatural is going to bleed into horror all the time. So it's like where is the line when it comes to like the marketing half of it is like very much like that's a metrics thing almost.
I think we touched on it maybe a little bit in, I think maybe the first or second episode. I don't remember exactly. As a general rule, I don't want to know anything about the media I'm going to be consuming before I consume it. I like if someone hands me a book and says read this book, I don't want to know the genre, I don't want to know the plot, I don't want to know anything. I just want to like accept it as it is because I don't really like things getting like my biggest pet peeve in publishing right now. It's like where it's like it's the Da Vinci Code meets Harry Potter, and I'm like. That's weird. I would just like it to be its own thing. Thank you. I don't need you to tell me it's, and like apparently that's a big thing that agents are asking for. Ashley can probably tell you, where they're like, you need to give 2 examples because your audience is stupid and they won't pick up your book unless they know it's like the Da Vinci Code.
Associative marketing.
Yeah,
it's
I hate that.
Wow.
Algorithms have gone insane and they're taking over human brains.
Yeah, it's like I will actively avoid stuff that's marketed that way, even though they have to market it that way. But anyway, I think with horror, it's a little bit different because you have to consent to the horror. You know, you can't just be, if you want to like, you know, be like, oh, this sounds like a cool thing about, you know, someone in a fire tower and seeing what their day-to-day life is like, and you don't know that there is an element of horror to it, you might not be in the right headspace for that. You might not be prepared to deal with that. Like you might not be in a safe space to want to listen to that. So I feel like with horror, if you're going to have horror elements as a responsibility to your audience, you do generally need to be like, there are at least some horror elements. And I guess by labeling it as thriller, you do kind of cover that by not being like, oh, it's outright horror. But horror is such like a loose and broad term. Like working on the podcast and like picking stories, there's certain things that I see as horror that other people might not see as horror. And that's an adorable cat. So I feel like horror is such a broad category that it could kind of be, hey, prepare yourself. Bad things are going to happen to the characters in this story, you know?
The broad category is a thing, too. I've been thinking about this. Horror is like saying rock. There's, like, the subgenres, I think, have become the more important aspect of that. Because there's just such a wide variety of everything you can do. And whether it's extreme attempt, like jump scare, gore stuff, murder porn, versus just this is uneasy and making me feel uneasy and I don't like this, but they're all still the same, just with their different subgenres.
And you're gonna hit those certain points where it's like, is this a rock or is it not a rock? Is a pearl a rock? It's...
And then you have the geologist, actually, it's technically it's a fossil, so... You're like, okay, but it's rock-shaped. We can... It's fine, it's a rock. Just let it be a rock for this intent and purpose.
See,
I'm glad that you picked up on
it.
that. It's like, is it a gemstone? Depends on who you ask.
Depends if it's worth over $10,000.
Fair. That's a fair distinction at that point. But, so do we feel that this one had, like, a lot of horror elements to it? Or was I off the mark on this one?
Spooky whispers make it horror. That's my 2 cents.
I had to look up what The Walking Dead was, and it is horror and thriller.
Yes.
So that was really apt. And now thinking about season one of Walking Dead was horror, and then further seasons leaned into thriller. So I'm wondering if it's like the reverse here, where it's like thriller and then it's leading you up to horror.
I feel like a lot of it depends on how much is on screen versus off screen. Horror kind of is like the stuff that hits you in the face, where it's the dead bodies and the viscera and the terrible thing, the ghost, what have you. The thriller is more like maybe there's like some inciting incident at the beginning or something that leads to the end, but the majority of it is just dealing with the suspense of it. And I think this one falls into that category for me of maybe not horror, but certainly thriller.
Well, I feel like on top of that, even when you have more grounded horror, you have to look at it, just because something horrible happens doesn't mean it is a horror story. Like, for instance, we got a submission and it was somebody was laying in bed when their apartment got broken into, which is objectively very scary, very real life horror. But that was the whole story. And I'm like, well, is that really a horror story? It's just, it's a bad thing that happens. It's a scary thing that happens. But is it a horror story, or is it just something horrible that could happen to you? So I had to like sit and think, what makes this not a horror story? Because I was like, it just doesn't feel like it's a horror story. And I think maybe 2 things can kind of pop in to turn a grounded, horrible situation into horror. And number 1, there is a degree of exaggeration or surreality. I don't know if surreality is a word, maybe unreality.
I like surreality.
Yeah,
That's pretty great. I'm gonna kidnap that and try and make it a word if it isn't one. So
Cool. So someone breaking into your house, scary, right? Is that a horror story? An escaped serial killer breaking into your house, everything else being the same, I think that's definitely a horror story, because someone breaking into your house could happen. I'm sorry, everyone who's scared of this today. An escaped serial killer breaking into your house is still grounded in reality. It could happen, but it's really not likely to happen. So I think number 1 that could change something from a horrible situation to horror is an exaggeration of a real life terrible thing. And then number 2, I would say, because I thought of an example, I don't know if anyone's familiar with Autopilot from No Sleep, where the horror, like everything stays completely grounded. It's something that could happen in real life, but there's a twist. And the twist is like the shocking ending is what turns it into a horror story. So I think it's a rough line between the horrible and horror, because again, we've had so many submissions to the podcast where it's like, well, that was just a terrible thing to read and I'm sad now, but is it a horror story? Is this something we can run on the show, or is it just horrible?
I am taking mental notes. I need to know.
So
Alrighty. Clay, go ahead.
I was trying to find a quote. Apparently, it's been attributed to Bela Lugosi, but it wasn't actually him. But there was one about the difference of like, oh, you do horror movies. Like, we don't do horror movies. We do fantasy. Horror is what's happening with World War II and World War I, and horror is the real life. So I think to flip that actually now with what Jessica said about surreality is like, yeah, you need that something that just pushes it past, the common aspect. Again, the break-in, a horrific aspect. But yeah, not horror. I'd agree with you on that one. There has to be that one thing that makes it implausible.
Or the twist at the end that it's like, it was your mother breaking into your house, or so, like you need something to like separate it.
Surreality. The surreality. Oh, damn it! I can't even.
Surreality.
Surreal.
Yeah.
We're making it happen. You gotta be able to say it.
I just glossed past it.
I'm gonna have to practice it, but
Yeah.
but I think like that twist aspect can be the point where that enters the story. Like, it can seem particularly mundane, though horrible, but that like twist that makes you kind of question the reality of everything or recontextualize everything is still, I think, your first point, just paying off at a different point in the story.
That's a good point. I do love that you use the word mundane, because mundane horror is one of my favorite subgenres of horror.
Yeah.
Where everything's just really understated and it's just like...
Ash is not having it.
Like, no.
we live in a horrible world.
I don't need and I don't need that reminder. I need some supernatural with my horror. Thank you.
I mean, the mundane horror can still have supernatural elements to it. It's the ghost that you learn to live with because your apartment is in a place that is terribly expensive, and this is the one that's
in
cheap.
this economy.
In this economy.
Right?
See, I'm glad y'all explained
a
to me.
demon. I got bills.
Y'all talking about mundane horror. Like, y'all talking
Too
mundane
real.
horror, and I'm like, wait, like the 9-to-5 job? Because for me, that's mundane horror. Going into an office day after day.
Let me think of a good example
after
of
day.
what I mean by
Oh my god.
mundane horror.
It's
I'll probably come up with it later.
yeah. Once this ends, you'll be like, "Oh man, I have it."
Laptop, honey.
And this
Think
is why
about
that
it.
should be in the
Wow.
Discord.
Can we go? Because we are actually over time. So, as you're thinking about it, Jess, could we roll back to final thoughts or not final thoughts? Questions. What would be your one question to ask the makers of Tower 4?
Just one.
Well, for now.
You can have my question, Alante. You can do two.
Oh.
Go ahead, Alante.
No, I want to hear yours.
This was my out. This was my out, Alante. Take it.
So you didn't enjoy it. Oh.
I enjoyed it. I just don't have any questions. It's been 2 episodes.
It was great. I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah.
Is that your me voice? Is that what I sound like to you?
That's what you sounded like just then.
Alante.
You sounded like just then.
Anything, especially Jessica. That's you.
That was so good. That was like so good.
It's like I'm a voice actor or something.
Oh my god, that's
Oh my God.
amazing.
Okay,
And
Alante,
then
you
it's
were gonna ask. You had a question from before, right?
Yeah, but I feel like I should come up with something new. I guess my question would be towards the writer, and it'd be like, what internal to the team? So is it working with the voice actors? Is it working with the musicians that made you like? Did you augment the story or acclimate the story to your team, or did you build the team around your vision? Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Like, did they have voice actors in mind that they were writing for versus writing the story and then auditioning or finding people for the story?
Yeah, or even like they worked with these voice, like the guy wrote 3 episodes. I think it was a guy wrote 3 episodes, and then going into future episodes, he was just like, "Hey, like the table read thing, like you might change stuff during table reads." Like, did you do something like that, or was it purely like the script going forward kind of a thing?
And your second question, Alante?
My second question.
While you're thinking about it, somebody's at my door, so just keep with your questions as you think of them.
All right.
God, this is the horror story. It's happening.
Oh!
Who's at the door?
Don't say that. We're not calling that
At the
distance,
door.
please.
It's me.
Kill.
I do
Die.
feel like I want to ask Mike's voice actor something, but I'm not.
Is it his phone number?
I mean, if he has a cowboy hat, yeah.
Is it Cowboys, Alante? Really?
As a Texan, I am now afraid you are no longer allowed to get a massage with me. Not happening.
Just don't wear cowboy
Whatever.
hats. You're a flat cap man.
That and gingers.
Continue.
You have a blonde beard. Chill. You're not even a ginger, bro.
Headed cowboy. That's so specific.
What?
What kind of color?
You missed nothing. You missed absolutely nothing.
Tune into our Patreon. Find out more about ginger cowboys.
Okay.
You know, actually, Clay convinced me that like maybe my take on Mike the character is too hard. So again, it's more of like how did you approach it? Like, what were your intentions? Like, what was the directions you got? Like the directions in the script or anything like that. That would be my second one for Mike, just to learn more about how other people do things.
Okay. Izzy, do you have a question?
I don't know if I really have a question on this one, because I'm solidly on the fence regarding this one. Like, I feel like it could pay off in an interesting way, but one of the things that really kind of lost me was that sort of repetitive cadence of the inner monologue of the Mike character. I love his dialectic, like, tone. I'm really not a fan of the thing, and that makes up so much of the script, and the push and pull between it really kind of lost me in a lot of ways. So I guess my question has to do more with like, what was the like creative decisions behind that tone? Like, is that something that was like very specifically desired, or is that something that just kind of came about naturally as just like how the voice actor kind of approached that? Because like I feel like, also I guess, does it get better? It's another question.
Damn.
Like,
I don't know if I'd ask that to the showrunner themselves.
I wouldn't ask that to the showrunner for sure, because I would just
Mike,
have to
do you
go
get
through
better
it.
at your job?
Do you get better at your job, Mike? I know, but I'm willing to be the mean one on this one.
Does that character get to like play more? Kind of like, I mean, naturally you kind of become more like the people you're around. He's around Amber, so does he get more playful as the show goes on?
Oh, he seems, I think, playful enough, really. Like, he responds really well to things. It's just that inner monologue aspect where it's kind of like non-diegetic almost. It sits in the space of like, it's telling us what's happening and it's giving us the majority of the action. Like, it holds an actual purpose because that's the thing that's, you know, us as the audience needs the information that it has. But it's also very like it doesn't have a lot of the points where it's like, this thing is surprising, and yet it's being like,
My scream.
The Jessica scream, yeah. The Jessica scream.
yeah, it's the Jessica Scream problem, right? Like, you know, it's like, you know, my internal monologue, I feel like, personally has a lot more, like, going on, maybe, than Mike's.
Can I turn this back around as a thought experiment? Not at you, but to the group. If, say, Mike was more expressive, more charismatic, does that make it all too monotone in the grand sense? Like, Amber is very charismatic. If he's charismatic, then what happens to the tone of the show?
I don't think it would go as well as it did as a person's cut up, because he needs a driving force for the plot itself. I mean, he's going out there just to like do next Walden civil disobedience romance story, but he needs the feedback and the instigator. And if he had his own, like, at that point it'd be a one-man show, essentially, him running through the woods without needing the radio whatsoever.
I might also chalk this one up to some Canadian dialogue kind of things, because we we don't tend to end on a down tone. We tend to naturally lilt up at the end of our sentences. So when you lilt down, to us it sounds very dour. So, and he constantly da 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 da.
Someone's not happy.
So.
I think we're down to me left for the question, and being up to date and not wanting to spoil things for anyone. So, fun times in the background. Being up to date now is one thing for one. Did you plan on getting where you are with the plot? Because we've seen some shows that just like, I wasn't planning this, but then something hit me. With where the story is right now, I want to know if day one, this is where you want it to be. That's it.
Awesome.
Show me the baby!
Uh-oh.
Cat has entered. The loudest cat on the planet.
God! Earl, you're beautiful.
I hope this makes it to YouTube for all of you because there is a cat and everyone's losing their mind.
Yeah.
Except for me.
Patreon
I'm an
content.
erotic-
You
I'm
don't
an
get the
erotic
cats
cat
until
dad.
you
I
pay
have
for the
to.
Patreon.
Okay, yep. I think, cats are gone until you pay for the Patreon.
That's a hell of a gate.
All right. I think we got everybody's questions, right? That was everybody?
I
Yeah.
think so.
Well, Ashley, do you have a question?
Will you come on our show and talk these questions?
Is he going to be there to be mean to Mike? We don't know.
Find out next week.
I mean, yeah. So what we found out: Tower 4, slow burn, good conversational dialogue with VAs, good solid story, but a few places where the script could have been a little bit tighter. And then the general topic, like obviously, like it's kind of a spectrum and depends on your perspective. What's horror elements push it into horror for you? So I think a really good conversation around that. But yeah, that has been our episode for today. Does anyone have any last thoughts they wanted to add before I wrap up?
Quick question for the group. Would you be a Firewatch Tower person? Because I would take that job in a heartbeat. That sounds like the perfect job.
I would be a Mike. I would have my computer. I'd be writing my books for 6 months.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be great.
You get stand up every hour to look outside, and then you get to work on your creative projects for hours. It's the perfect job.
Is there Wi-Fi?
No.
No.
Oh, no.
Even
fuck that
better.
then.
I was a production assistant for years, and a lot of it is basically the same sort of thing. Stuck out in the woods with a radio, and that's about it. I'm gonna say no, absolutely not.
I would hurt myself trying to be the manliest of men in the woods. Like, I'm gonna make my own flint, my own stone tools and chop down this tree, and then never heard from again. Just, Clay hasn't checked in a couple days. He's fine.
He slipped
Only
off the
if I
side
could
of
lasso a ginger
Okay.
cowboy.
OSHA's gonna get on your case. You should be checking in hourly, my friend. Anyway.
And if you're one of our listeners and you happen to be a ginger cowboy, that is Alante at Hear It in Horror.
Alrighty, we will end with that call for Ginger Cowboys. Alrighty, okay. That wraps up today's discussion. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Hidden Horror Podcast. We hope you'll give Tower 4 a listen and tell us what you think. Or if you have a podcast you think we should review, we would love to hear from you. If you're listening on YouTube, just comment below. Or if you're listening from a podcast streaming app, you can find the link to a suggestion form in the show notes. You can also find a link to listen to Tower 4 in the show notes. So until next time, thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Love you, bye.